Hello guys and welcome back to another exciting episode of Artisan Electrics. I am your host Jordan and today I'm going to be taking you for a grand tour, a whistle stop tour of some EICRs. I'm challenging myself a little bit today. I've got 3 EICRs that I'm going to try and smash out in one day. They're all empty properties, all quite small, so hopefully I'll be able to smash through them. And as I go along the way, I'm just going to talk to you about some of the things I find. I'm not going to go through the whole EICR process because I've done several videos about that already. Check the link in the description if you want to see my whole EICR testing series where I go in depth about how to carry out an EICR and the various tests and inspections involved. But today it's a bit of fun. I want to show you around and show you some of the hideous things that we find on EICRs. First is today's property this morning is this 1-bedroom flat. Let me show you around because straight away I see a few alarming things. As always, don't forget to hit a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and let's get into it. First, a quick show of what tools I use for an EICR. So I've got a small step ladder, laptop. I use Vespula for my testing certification software, absolutely brilliant. Little tool pouch, which is from Vito Pro Pack, absolutely amazing. I do have a tools channel on YouTube dedicated to tools. It's called Tools No. 4 Sparks. So head over and check that out and you can see all the various tools that I use for my EICRs. Code breakers, really handy. I'll put a link in the description to that. And the Fluke 1664 FC is my go-to tester. Again, I've made a video about this. There's a link in the description. So, consumer unit we have here. First things first, let me know what you think in the comments. So this is the main incomer. Interesting, ancient looking thing. It says D60 on it, so I'm guessing it's got 60 amp fuse. But if you look in the top there, that's definitely not IPXXB. You can stick your finger in there and touch all sorts of lovely live parts, I'm sure. The main earth off the side of here is just a bit of 4mm, it looks like. But then there is also this main earth here off this incoming cable. Interesting, it's actually a pyro incoming. So pyro, or MICC cable, stands for mineral insulated copper conductors. And basically it's a copper sheathed cable with some white powder inside which acts as an insulating material. And then the copper cores, usually in this case it will be 2 copper cores within. And they've obviously used this earth clamp to bring the supplier's earth from the sheath of the cable. It is 16mm. It is labelled up, so that's good. But this in itself just worries me a bit. And actually, it's not accessible. It's accessible without a tool. So you can literally unscrew that by hand. Anyone can do it, and then have a look inside. And this is a bare neutral terminal. I mean, it's been done quite neatly really, but as you can see there, look, my finger goes straight in the top and you could technically just touch the live outgoing terminal there. So definitely needs some sorting out. I would guess I would recommend to probably replace this with some kind of switch fuse. The only thing is I'm not sure where you could isolate this from, because this is a block of flats, so I'm guessing that there's some kind of supply cabinet somewhere where all these pyros come from. Let me know in the comments if you know about this kind of thing. To be honest, it's the first time I've come across one of these specifically, so I'm not 100% sure where I would go to find that pyro, where that comes from. Supplier's meter, single insulated tails visible coming out the bottom of the meter, so that's not great either. Then we've got the consumer unit, and in this case it's a plastic consumer unit, not metal. We've got a main switch, lights downstairs, sockets, cooker, RCD to protect lights up. Oh no, okay, so we've got 2 RCDs actually. This RCD protects those, this RCD protects those, so that's good at least. Type AC RCD. And this one does lights upstairs, sockets, combi boiler. And this RCD is off.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Good old Siri always likes to go off whenever I'm filming. I think he's got a bit of a fame call to fame. Who wants to be famous on my YouTube channel? Yeah, so anyway, that works okay. That one works okay as well, tripping wise, but it is a plastic board. It's located in this kind of wooden cupboard. So it's kind of fire sealed by the wooden cupboard in a way, so I'm not too worried about that. But I would probably see through it anyway, the fact that it's not metal. Main earth going to the consumer unit, 16mm. So we'll get the board cover off, just to save isolation and all that. Just turn off all of this and we'll rip the board cover off and see what we come across. Right, so we've got PVC cables. They do look fairly old because you can see the kind of tinned copper. See, it's sort of a silvery colour rather than a copper colour. That indicates that it's quite old. There is evidence of alterations or additions because we've got this new cable here which is labelled as sockets. Presumably they've added some sockets at some point. It's got a little whiff of smoke there coming, and I think probably it's coming from the neighbouring apartment because there must be some kind of ventilation through flow between the two. Probably coming from here, which is why I would never live in a horrible, skanky old apartment like this. Anyway, apart from that, there's no signs of overheating. That looks a bit dodgy. See that exposed copper there on the neutral tail? It looks like they've just bent them in with a pair of grips. Can you see the marks on there? That looks like the marks from a pair of grips or pliers. They've just mashed them in there a little bit roughly. That's not great. And then under here we have the buzz bar. Buzz bar itself looks okay. Everything seems to be sighted correctly. No signs of overheating, so that's good. In terms of the IP rating of this enclosure, there is a hole here where I can put my finger, so that's not ideal, but it's not really a game changer. We could put a bit of fire sealant in there, not the end of the world. There is no evidence of main bonding conductors here at all. You've just got the 16mm main earth coming in, but no other earthing conductors of any decent size going out. So I'm intrigued to see where the main stopcock is and where the gas meter is and if they're actually bonded or not. Let's have a look around. So straight away we see the boiler here. We've got a spur for the boiler, presumably that's the central heating circuit. A few flexible cables, again I can smell smoke quite strongly here. Nothing really major going on in there. We've got some funny kind of cupboards here as well. Looks like some pipes. That's the main gas pipe coming in there from outside, and it doesn't look like it's been bonded there where it comes into the property. I'll have to check outside to see if it's bonded outside, but I doubt it somehow. So that literally comes through here, goes up into the boiler. So it would be fairly easy to run a bond from the consumer unit onto here or just to where it comes inside the property. Let's have a look under the sink and see if we've got a main water bond at all. Right, so we've got a couple of old clamps that have got no wiring on them at all. Can't see a main stopcock of any sort. There is this old, what looks like an old steel water pipe which has been capped off, unless it's a gas pipe. It is a metal sink, no evidence of supplementary bonding, but those water pipes do go through there. So if I run through, okay, they just run around to the boiler. Again, no evidence of stopcock of any sort in here. No evidence of a stopcock there either, so I'm not quite sure where the main stopcock would be. Maybe behind this washing machine. Always like to pull appliances out where I can because there's usually fun things behind them. So there we go, we've got main stopcock for the water there. Looks like it is a metallic pipe coming in. There is a link of earth wire across from one side of the meter to the other, but no actual supply, like main bonding conductor going over there. We've got a socket for the washing machine and for the hob or oven, and a fused spur there. Not sure what that does. Yeah, all a bit of a bodge. This is basically for the spark of the hob. So presumably then that means that the socket with the black flex going out the right is actually for the oven. Not sure what that fuse connection unit actually does. This white cable is obviously for the washing machine. So that's all fun. Sockets, we've got these added sockets. Probably these are the ones that have got the new cables in. These have been added above the kitchen units. So that's probably that additional circuit. I can see some trunking running around down there. So that's probably what that does. Metal light fitting, so it's worth checking with an R2 test to see if that's earthed or not. See the wiring there. One cable coming in with an earth that's not sleeved. This pendant looks fairly new, but the actual wiring is quite old, so I would be thinking about rewiring a property of this age. Metal light switch, so we'll check that. Metal light fitting. I bet half of these are not even earthed. No socket there. Okay, so we're going to have probably insufficient numbers of socket outlets in here as well. We've got one down there. One single socket there, unswitched. So this is the living room. It's not a tiny living room. I've seen smaller. You know, it's a fairly decent size, but it's literally just got one double socket there and one single socket there. In my opinion, that's not enough. No sockets or anything under the stairs. Very old light switch, which is, you know, Bakelite MK type. That's probably from the 60s or 70s. So that's a little bit of an alarm bell for me. Let's go upstairs, see what we've got upstairs. Light switches, again, old Bakelite. A pendant, a new pendant, but it's been fitted on top of an old one or something. Bit weird. Again, only one cable in, but it looks like a 2.5, so that's going to need some investigation. Looks like a bit of a bodge. They've obviously replaced that light switch. No sockets all the way around here. One socket there. That's it. That is literally it. One single socket only in this bedroom, which is not enough for a modern house. Another bedroom, so it's actually a 2-bedroom place. Walk-in wardrobe, nothing in there. Interesting pipes, just like not fixed up there, just slung in. Again, old light switch, and check it out, proper old pendant. So that is original. It's all painted in, but I'm guessing that is, again, 50s, 60s, probably. One double socket down there. And that's it. So we've got another bedroom with literally one double socket. Not enough. Another pendant. Let's have a little look here. See what we've got. Okay, weird. Again, like 2.5. No earth in that one at all. Horrible old little dome fitting, all painted in. No electric shower, it's just a shower that's off the bath. Pull cord, a bit tangled up, but it does have the insulating piece, so not the end of the world. And that's it really. Doesn't look like there's any loft. No loft access, because it's concrete. We are on the first floor here, but yeah, concrete ceilings. So presumably then it's wiring conduit above these pendants, and we may be able to pull in, yeah, it looks like there's conduit boxes behind, so we might be able to rewire the lights and just pull in new cabling. And I'm guessing then that these screws are actually earthed, so that's why, but they've just not taken a flying lead off the back box to the earth terminal. It's not really necessary in this case because they are class 2 light fittings. That then will be the actual conduit back box, probably. It's just sticking a bit proud of the ceiling. Interesting. So I'm going to run some tests now, and I'll let you know if I find anything of interest. Alright, so I've just run round and done an earth continuity test with my R2 long wander lead. No earth continuity to this light fitting. All the sockets are fine. This switch does have earth continuity, but this one does not. This light does not either, but all the lights upstairs do, and all the switches upstairs do. So, oh, I didn't check this one, so let me just check this one now. No earth continuity to that one either. Great. And this switch, I think this doesn't have either. Oh yes, it does. Alright, so just taking this down, and there is an earth wire in there, but there's no earth continuity to that particular earth wire. There's a plasterboard ceiling, so there could be a junction box up there somewhere. The reason I think there probably is because this one's the same. No earth continuity and one cable at the light, and it's a hollow ceiling. So unless they have actually fed the switches with a live and neutral and run from there, which I doubt very much, I'm guessing that there's a junction box hidden away somewhere, which is not very helpful. I'm not sure what that might be. Might be worth taking off, but probably it's for an old cooker hood or something. I shouldn't think it's anything to do with the lights, but you never know in these kind of places. Right, so top marks to whoever guessed this. It is basically a junction box for the cooker circuit. Presumably there was just a cooker switch there before, and they've had to extend it down to here. Bit of a bodge, but hey ho, no surprises. So I'm going to just whip this off just to see what it's like, but this is classic, right? It's absolutely disgusting, so greasy. Everything is just covered in grease here. There's like puddles of grease on the worktops. Whole place needs a thorough clean. I don't know how they can rent it out in this condition. And this screw, it's a bit of a classic DIY bodge, is like, oh yeah, the back box is broken, that's why. So it needs a new back box. Oh nice, look at that, jackpot. So we've got a nice bit of 2.5 twin and earth off the back of this as well. Man, can of worms. So I'm going to recommend replacing this whole switch unit and removing that blue and brown twin and earth 2.5. I think that probably goes down to one of these items under here, either the fuse connection unit or the socket. I'm going to take those off and have a look, just figure out what's what, but what a bodge. Yeah, so I've just taken the cover off that socket, and that 2.5 twin and earth does go to that socket. I guess it goes to that fuse first, so they've sort of fused it down on that last little bit. But it's still just a bit of a pig's ear, to be honest. So let me know how you would code that. I would love to know in the comments. I am thinking C2, to be honest. I'm feeling a bit ruthless today anyway, because this place is just horrible. Look at that rusty screw. Let's have a look behind here and see what they've done here. Right, so actually, not bad, to be honest. It looks fine, which is a relief. These are the new sockets that have been added. So this is just a little radial that somebody's added in for these kitchen sockets. But apart from the rusty screw, which I'm not sure why that happened, it's actually okay. Right, so this is going to be fun. I'm going to hack this off with, just cut out all the grout and stuff. I'm going to take this switch off, just have a look behind, because I've got a feeling that I'm going to find some nastiness with the wiring behind here. Right, so it's as I expected, old wiring, you know, just about within its usable life, but it's got not much life left, to be honest. Funny way of earth tagging the back box, but it works and it's okay. So it's not the end of the world here, but there's definitely a junction box somewhere because there's no live and neutral to the switch here. So presumably above this ceiling there's a junction box somewhere, which is just a nightmare. I'm starting to get the feeling that a rewire is going to be recommended here, to be honest. So this light fitting's down and it's exactly the same thing. There is an earth wire, but it's not connected wherever it goes back to. Again, there's a junction box somewhere, goodness knows where. So this is just getting ridiculous now. And I just want to ask you guys a question. At what point do you stop and just say, right, this is enough now, this is ridiculous. I'm not going any further on this EICR, I'm just going to recommend a rewire and be done with it. At the moment I'm feeling like there's no point in carrying on really, because the lack of sockets, the lack of earthing to class 1 light fittings, the amount of dodgy stuff, you know, no main bonding in place. I really need to learn to put my phone on aeroplane mode when I'm filming, because every time I'm filming something, somebody calls me and then it cuts off. Anyway, yeah, let me know what you would do. I just kind of feel like at this point it's probably best to just give up, say, look, it needs a rewire. Let me know if the landlord wants to go ahead. Trouble is, as always, tenants are supposed to be moving in next week, and I don't think that's going to happen. Let me know if you've experienced anything like this in the comments. I would love to know. I've got a feeling that this scenario is going to become more and more common now as all these EICRs get done on all these rental properties. It's just going to start happening. Right, so I was literally just about to leave this place and I thought, oh, I forgot to do the RCD test. So I went to test the sockets with the RCD and there was no power to them. And this is the main switch. Can you see that? The main switch is on, but it's got really dodgy contact. So every time I do that, the lights flicker and the whole installation flickers basically. And this is probably an issue with it not being installed properly to the correct torque settings. So whole thing again just needs ripping out and starting again. So I'm literally going to isolate this and then just leave it like that basically. Right, well I'm just about finished here. I've identified most of the circuits, but for some reason there's this, no, that's the central heating. There's this, what says it's upstairs lighting, but it's not. All the lighting is on this circuit, so I'm not quite sure what that does. That is the cooker. This circuit, can't identify either, don't know what it is. So that's a bit weird, but it is what it is. I am going to recommend full rewire because there are literally only 4 sockets on the ring circuit and 2 of those are singles and 2 are doubles. Each bedroom only has 1 single socket and they've got extension leads lying around ready for the new tenants to just plug in, which is a warning sign. This is a fire hazard, this place really, as it is, because of that and because of all the other things that are wrong. This whole building that I'm in right now is a little bit like Grenfell style building, to be honest. It's like a really old sort of 1960s block of flats, and this is the ground floor flat. So if this one goes up, they all go up, you know, and it's not worth any risks. Age of the wiring and the fact that there are so many faults throughout, it's just going to be easier just to rewire this whole place before the new tenants come in and get it all up to scratch. So that's what I'm going to recommend. Let me know if you have different thoughts in the comments. I would love to know. But yeah, I've got to get out of here now. This is doing my head in this place, and I'm hoping that the next one will be better. So I'm going to do a spin and I'm going to take you to the next one. So here we are at the next one, and this is a bungalow. It's 4 bedroom, I think. And it took me a while to find the consumer unit, but it's in here. So I'm just going to give you a quick whip round and then show you what's what. So we seem to have landlords who are getting consumer unit changes done on the cheap, because as you can see, this CPAC stuff is complete junk. I mean, it's an RCBO board, but the CPAC was done in the other place as well, as rubbish quality. And this thing, you know, the lid is doesn't even fit properly. It's in this really annoying, awkward wooden cupboard in the kitchen, right next to the electric cooker. Let's see if I can get this kind of so I can see what's going on. I mean, the pans have all just fallen down the back of this cupboard. So we've got actually, man, this is ridiculous. So thank goodness the metal pans haven't shorted out anything, but it looks like we've got a water stopcock there, which is bonded, which is good. Main cutout fuse, no seals on it, but it does, well, I don't know what ampage it is. Meter's got no seals on either. It's a TNS system by the looks of it. You've got a lead sheathed cable with a little bit of stranded cable coming off of it. What I'll do is just turn this off and then pull the main fuse and see what I can. Oh man, that's pretty. Let's see what size the main fuse is. Okay. It's not very helpful. I have to get it open. I'm not going to bother with that at the moment. There is main bonding to the gas as well, because I've seen that on the other side. That's the water meter down there. It's all a bit awkward, but you know, it's got RCBOs. They all test out okay, so that's a good start. Sockets, lights, cooker hood, cooker, sockets, kitchen. So there's basically 2 ring circuits, a cooker circuit, a lighting circuit, and a cooker hood. And then fuse spur in loft for up toilet light. So let's have a little look around, see if we can find anything interesting. Cooker switch, quite old. Neon doesn't work. Funny little outlet plate there. You know, I've got a feeling that this is the same landlady as the other place actually, because it all just has the same kind of ring of slightly cutting corners on it. There is supplementary bonding, not that it's needed because it's got an RCBO consuming in it, but this is all loose, bit dodgy. Boiler cables, kind of loose as well. You have smoke alarms. So there is an IP rated light in here, just a normal shower. Nothing much to report in here. Interesting ventilation. So this must be an extension, and the ventilation comes through there into here, which is a bit dodgy. And there's a lot of mould, plus a pull switch in here for a light, which is a bit weird. Yeah, it's a funny old house really. That light was on when I came, so I'll leave it on. Looks like an old immersion heater cupboard. Another bathroom with just a baton holder and a bulb, and that's the fan. So the moisture from this bathroom is being vented out into that little hallway thing on the other side, which is really rubbish. Definitely doesn't comply with building regs. These smoke alarms, I wouldn't be surprised if they're out of date. Not sure about that. Yeah, they're January 2022, so they're just about in date. There's one here as well. I'm wondering if that was actually a HMO at some point. We've got obviously some kind of damp happening here, and then these back boxes are getting all green around them, so presumably they've been corroding because of the damp. Horrible pendant. Nothing much to report in here. Nice pull switch for the bedroom. Couple of sockets and bits and pieces, nothing major. Same here, light switch. There's not a lot of sockets actually. Can't see any in here. There's just one there, that's rubbish. And then up here there's this funny funny socket there. Nice, with a bit of trunking. And then it's a definite like DIY loft conversion that's happened up here. The whole thing just feels like really rubbish and kind of clunky. So you can just like bash your head on there. There's a nice little gap above there. That light switch. A nice broken pull cord with a baton holder. Let's have a little look in here. Okay, they've wired the lights in flex, so that's another classic DIY sign. Oh man,